Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. Of course, everybody knows I'm here on the East Coast in Jersey, and 3 days ago, it hit 80 degrees here. And I woke up this morning and my lawn was covered with freshly fallen snow. And 3 days ago, I'm wearing a t-shirt. Today, I'm wearing a sweater. Welcome to the Northeast weather stuff. Anyway, what I've been doing the last week and continuing for another week is doing interviews for the Garden State Film Festival in conjunction with the Garden State Film Festival because I love the whole institution of film and actors and directors and filmmakers and screenwriters and composers. It means so much to me. My life changed irrevocably after I watched Casablanca. Lots of you know that. And so I'm now in the middle because the Garden State Film Festival is coming up at the end of the month. I get privileged to meet and interview some fascinating people, one of which is here right now, Eric Feller. We were just kind of chatting before he went on air. He's a documentary. He studied, he'll tell you, but he got his master's in fine arts and documentary filmmaking. He's a documentarian. He's done some creative things, especially what we're going to be talking about, Blazing a Trail, which is a screening at the Garden State Film Festival. It's a documentary, fascinating, and he'll tell you why it's fascinating. It is fascinating, but it is a brave new world. And I, not because Eric is here, but I've been huge fan for so many decades of documentaries. I spent most of the pandemic sitting here watching documentaries, a lot from Ken Burns, and he helped me get through the pandemic. I'm really glad I had a chance to talk to Eric before he went on air. And we're gonna a fascinating interview to get behind a filmmaker and sometimes a one-man crew, which is even more impressive. So my official Johnny Carson monologue has concluded. And Eric, why don't you say a couple of words, intro, and then we'll do some talking.
Sure. Hi, I'm Eric Feller, creator, producer, director, editor, and everything else for Blazing a Trail. The film is about the inaugural girls' flag football team coming from Bellmore-Merrick School District on Long Island during the 2021-2022 school year. Flag football made its debut on Long Island that year, and the documentary um, is chronicles their journey throughout the season.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So, um, what first inspired you to document the story of the first girls' high school flag football team on Long Island? What was that piece of energy?
I thought it was a great opportunity. Just when I first heard about it in during the fall of 2021, I was filming tackle football for the coach and I was documenting their tackle football team. And when he told me that it possibly might come to Long Island, I was instantaneously gravitated. I gravitated towards it. I mean, I thought it was just like in the back of my mind, I thought it would be a great opportunity to film something from the ground up. Like how many times in your life can you, as a filmmaker, especially a documentary one, you're looking for stories that could connect and are unique. I mean, I thought this one was just the perfect opportunity to film when the team was going to be established. I immediately it just piqued my interest right away. I thought there would be a lot of potential with this.
Okay. I like the title Blazing a Trail because it suggests uh, history is being made. That's what it suggests. Um, is there other factors which makes this team's story kind of historically significant?
Well, it's never been done before. The sport's never been seen at the varsity high school level on Long Island. So I think it was just historic from that nature. Just how the season, even if the season, if it unfolded any way possible, but I think just from a historic nature, I think them being the first, they were pioneers.
Okay.
And to me, that was inspiring that they would go out there, they would put themselves out there with, I mean, only one girl had football experience because she played tackle football, the quarterback, as a receiver. But the other girls on the team, they were novices. I mean, I remember one of the girls was saying when I interviewed her was that, football was only something we could only play in the backyard with our, brothers or dads, just having a catch. And now going from that to actually playing at a competitive level when you don't really have any experience playing at a competitive level, it's pretty inspiring to just see the work ethic and what the dedication and what they put into it. It was very inspiring.
Okay. I said this before we went on air. We live in a brave new world. I spent a lot of time a couple of weeks ago watching women's hockey. Now, who would have ever thought a bunch of years ago that women would be playing hockey now on a world-class level? So now you're seeing, uh, you know, girls in flag football. Uh, it's like a wow. Um, Semi off topic. Might someday there be regular tackle football? We don't know, do we? It could happen.
I mean, it's possible, I guess. I guess anything's possible.
Sure, sure. Um, what were some of the biggest challenges these girls faced pioneering a new high school sport?
Learning how to play, I think. I think learning how to play, understanding the game. Um, I think just understanding, I think also catching a football is a lot different than catching a regular ball, too. That's one thing I've noticed over the past years because I've done it for the same team the last few years as well. And there's a lot more familiarity now with the girls being able to, like, from the beginning to be able to catch the ball. That was new at the beginning, just learning how to catch the ball and learning the sport in general. They'd never play. I mean, every girl on the team besides one had never played.
Wow.
So learning how to play, learning how the rules, learning how to run an offense, run a defense. I mean, that was all new and had to be learned from a very basic elementary level. And they had to do it in such a short time, and that was very impressive too. Just the commitment and dedication and understanding that they were coming in fresh and they had to learn everything in such a short amount of time is very impressive and inspiring as well.
Hmm. Were there any particular moments or athletes or any kind of combinations of thing that emotionally stood out to you while you were filming? Was there any like emotional thing that happened?
Well, I was rooting for them, of course, to do well. So
Okay.
I think, I mean, as you see the film, I mean, there's one game, for me personally, you don't try and get too like emotional or anything, but there was one game that it was like, obvious I had everything planned out that if they were gonna, they might not like do as well as I kind of thought. But I mean, I got attacked. I mean, the girls were great though. Like just, I mean, just from, I mean, I definitely got. I think the girls knew me too. Like some of them, they knew me from the school. They knew who I was. So I think they felt comfortable around me. That they definitely opened up, especially when I interviewed them at the end of the year, when I put everything together. I mean, they definitely opened up about their experience, and that was great. I mean, when I do because I done just really boy sports, and when I interview boys, who I mean, it's you could flip a coin if they're going to be good or bad when you interview them. But I mean, with the girls, it was just they were just so natural. The majority of them were just so natural on camera. That was great. They were so open and honest and just willing to just share their experiences. And I mean, when I was at school, grad school, I mean, the one of the professors said to, I think us, I remember, the story is great, but it's about the people that make the film. And that's what, you might have a great story, but a great story takes you so far. It's about the people, and that's, I think, what this really is about. It's about the girls' experiences and their just, I think love for the sport and I think love for each other as well by the end of it.
Yeah. Okay. So, you filmed this documentary essentially as a one-person crew. I alluded to that. Um, why don't you throw a couple of challenges about working that way? I can't even imagine that.
Well, it's challenging, but at least I've had experience doing it. You know, I think the biggest challenge is just missing something. If you want to try and film everything possible, you're going to miss some stuff as a filmmaker, but you want to just you want to just overcome that by just filming as much as possible. I mean, the challenge is I've been used to it, so at least I had experience with it. I think the challenge, as I said, is just you hope you don't miss something that's important, and then you regret it if you see it, and then we're like, oh, I wish I filmed this, or I just missed that um by a second, because there's a scene in the film where after the first game, um one of the main stars of the film, she does a shoulder bump with the coach and she falls down. And I kind of missed it. But in the next game or two games later, she does the same thing and she falls again. So at least I had something to
Right.
cover it up. But it was disappointing that I missed it in the moment. But I mean, as a single person crew, also, it's about just you gotta be you I think you gotta really know what you're filming. You gotta have a game plan. And that's really what I tried to have, a game plan as to what I had, what needed to be filmed, and what was a must to film. Just you have to have a game plan, like an outline of what everything you need, and you got to follow it. That's really what I think is um, important about that.
Um, Almost conversely, are there advantages of being one-man crew?
Well, I guess you don't have to consult with anyone.
Money,
Money
budget,
is always, of course,
budget.
right. I mean, especially this. I mean, the budget on this, it wasn't really much because it was a brand new team, like brand new program. So I knew the budget was very limited. So I think that helped too in that way that um being a single person crew, I think was kind of the only way to do it, to be honest, with this, because yeah, the budget was very, very small to say to
Sure, sure. Uh, did anything like unexpected happen while you were doing this that may have changed the direction of your production, or everything went pretty much as you would have expected it to have gone?
um I must say I really didn't have to take many detours or really any detours. I mean, the season really was just perfect. in a way. I mean, it couldn't have gone any better. And that's what made it so rewarding too, was that it just went perfect. Like there was really no, I mean, the games were, I think as the season went on, the games were more competitive, which made it a lot more which made it more dramatic. But you couldn't have scripted it. Like that's what I love about documentaries is that you can't script it. And this is just and this was, I mean, I mean, it felt like the season was just too good for a script. So I think it just was perfect the way it was. I mean, I still think about it today. I mean, it's 4 years later, and I still think about those 3.5, 4 months still to this day. And then, so I think that really made I mean, how it made a lasting impression
Hmm.
for me.
Okay. So you've actually worked on a lot of sports documentaries. Um, what makes sports such a powerful vehicle for being like a storytelling platform? I mean, there's nothing to me
It's the
like,
ultimate reality show.
okay,
There's no, I mean, sports, it gives you that built-in structure of the season, which I love. Just the progression of how a team does from beginning to end. But I just love the emotions that it carries. Like there's no, it just is the perfect thing to document to my, I mean, I've been a sports fan all my whole life. And I mean, it's always been there for me. And that's what always drew me to sports is that it's just you can't script it. It's just so organic in the way that it's
right?
just perfectly like it's great storytelling and sports documentaries have definitely grown the past decade. I mean, ESPN has done the 30 for 30 stuff, which is great. I mean, I mean, the OJ one won the Oscar for best documentary, and I think 16 or 17, and that was tremendously done. I mean, it was basically 8 hours, and it was brilliant. But I mean, HBO and yeah, ESPN, they do the 30 for 30s. I think they're all really well crafted. I mean, that was another thing when I typed up the proposal when I sent it to the district superintendent and the head coach. I mean, aspirationally, I wrote, I hope this airs on like ESPN or NFL Network or something like that. I mean, that was always kind of like in the back of my mind. I think the film is an inspiring story, and I mean, I'm gonna just vouch for myself. I mean, I think it's good enough to air on a network like that because I think it's just a unique and great story about a bunch of girls coming together with no experience playing a sport where it's a male, you know, we think of football as a male dominated sport, which it is, and then coming together, learning a sport in such a short amount of time and you know, having the success that they did, or yeah, or the goals that they tried to set for themselves as well. So I think just sports, it brings everyone from just different backgrounds together for a common goal, and that's what I love about it.
Okay. Um, Eric, I just want to go off topic for a
Sure.
second. As a journalist, I like to remove myself from what we're doing and ask one of my favorite questions. So here goes. It's simple, an answer or two here or there. Excluding family or friends, somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Hmm. It's a good question,
Yes,
actually.
it is.
Never thought about.
It could be a couple here or there. There's no rules here.
Um, mean, it's a really good question, actually.
You know, like Babe Ruth. talk to him for a day, something like that.
I mean, I'd love to. I mean, Tom Brady would always come up. Just how, how he was such an overachiever of what people thought of him, and just how hard he worked to get to him being arguably, if not the greatest quarterback ever. So I think someone like him, I mean, I think picking his brain
Yep.
would be probably very informative. Just what makes him tick.
Great answer.
Just take him, how he used, I guess, all the, because he had the Drew Henson situation at Michigan where he was looked, I guess, down upon. And then he was a six-round draft pick, and everyone saw his combine photo of him just looking like an average Joe, I guess, being slow, and how he just dedicated himself to becoming like the greatest winner in as a quarterback in NFL history. And maybe, I mean, you could put him as the greatest quarterback, if not probably the great. I mean, I don't think he's the greatest player in NFL history, but he's the greatest quarterback, arguably, in NFL history. But I think someone like that, just learning from or just picking his brain, I think would be very eye-opening.
Yep. Good answer. A really good answer.
Oh, thanks.
Yep. It's funny. I mentioned before we went on air. I have a good friend who was next to Tom Brady, and I actually interviewed. He was at the house here, and then I interviewed him for my TV show. And he made it kind of perfectly clear: don't ask me questions about Tom Brady. I'm not going to answer them. So I said, okay, yeah, no big deal, but I mean, the insights that he had to, I guess it was one season he shared next to the locker to Tom Brady. But I respect it. I was curious, but I never, roamed and asked questions. Anyway, so
Sure.
back to talk to me about the editing process that you did for this film.
Oh, it's a ton of footage,
Really?
ton of footage. I spent, I mean, I knew I was going to have a lot of footage for each of the games, which were, my goal was to just shoot as much as possible for each of the games and practices too. I was going to obviously shoot the most important stuff, but my goal was to shoot as much as possible there as well. But the interviews, I mean, I must have spent with the main star of the film, I probably spent 5 days and probably about 7 hours with her. And a couple and the other two of the other ones I spent 2 days with for about maybe 3.5, 4 hours. And then the other girls, they all took probably one day for about a couple hours. Beside pages and pages upon questions, I probably still have them in my bag somewhere, just what I was going to ask and just thinking of questions. And then I had the interviews with the coaches and the male student assistants who were all high school tackle football players who helped out. So I had a ton of questions. I mean, I basically had to just structure it. I basically just had to pick out the most important parts of, I guess, when I scripted the whole thing in my little legal pad. I just made an outline, and I knew and I just kind of strictly followed that. So I think it gave me kind of at least a template of what I was going to look for.
Hmm.
But again, that's what I love about sports is that it gives you that structure of the season. And of course, I was going to have to bring up other stuff, other aspects besides the on the field stuff, on the field games and practices that made the season so special. Just the relationships coming together because it's three different schools. and they're all rivals. So that was an important part about important aspect of the film about the girls coming together from three different schools, uniting as one. Um, and just yeah, and of course, meaning, I mean, it's a sports film, but it has a bigger meaning too. It's about female empowerment and
Heavy.
yeah, and just girls and just yeah, it's about female empowerment and yeah, pretty much as well, besides the sports part. And that girls are capable of doing as much as boys in a male-dominated sport.
Right. Right. Yeah, hey, listen, it is a brave new world. I keep going back to hockey. Growing up as a kid and watching hockey, the Rangers, Gump Worsley, great goalie. Who would have ever dreamt A, WNBA, B, hockey. It's such a changing world.
Yeah.
Does AI help you in your world of being a documentarian? Do you use it?
No, not really. No,
Okay,
never. I mean, I never really dabbled in it with documentary filmmaking.
okay,
I mean,
okay,
with writing and stuff like that, I'll check it out, but I'm not really with documentary filmmaking. No,
okay.
I just think I don't know. I've never really used it for documentary filmmaking.
Well, I never conceived of using it, and certainly not in my writing. I've written three books. Never even, well, the first two books, the AI wasn't around. The last book, AI was around, but AI can't get into my head.
Right.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel it.
think, well, that's, yeah, I mean, AI, it doesn't feel like it's your thoughts.
Right. And
So
can't be me. We can't
you
be
got to be authentic. I think AI it loses a ton of authenticity.
correct. Correct. And it can't be me. So I let it draw coming attractions posters for me, which I sent you one last night. But so as we kind of wind down, a typical question for a filmmaker is, what do you hope audiences feel or think or take away after they watch Blazing a Trail?
I want them to be inspired. That's really what I want them to be inspired. I want them to think you could really do what you put your mind to as well. So I think those are two things that I really hope that people take away from it. Um, I just want them to become like connected to the story as well. That, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's hard. I mean, sports documentaries are just hard to find a lane for, I've always felt, just because I don't know, maybe sports has a stigma against it or something, but I don't know, I think this is just bigger than sports. So I just want, as a life lesson, I just want people to be inspired by it.
Okay, which is great because it is inspirational.
Yeah, I think
Really,
what the girls did in those few months definitely they set like they built the foundation for something. I mean, they built the foundation for the current like flag football program that's going on now. I mean, it's just I do it pretty much every year, document the same team, and it's weird, I must say this year. It's the first, I mean, all nobody now in the program was there when those girls were the pioneers who started the program.
right.
So it's amazing how quickly time goes when you think about it.
Yeah, tell me about it. I know all how quickly time goes. I live with it every day,
Mm,
the fleeting nature of time. Uh,
mm.
I look in the mirror and I'm seeing time fly by. So, um, another going forward as you're a young guy and you're entering, your career. Do you have other kinds of documentaries in mind that you want to make and talk about?
Well, I always say stick with what you're good at, and sports, I think, is what I'm good at. I also do like educational stuff. I work for the Nassau BOCES, which is an educational school educational organization on Long Island. So I do a lot of filming and editing of highlighting teacher and student accomplishments as well. Um, I mean, that's something that's always important to me. These teachers, I guess, should get the gratification that they deserve. And, student accomplishments are always important to me because I always, took pride in that as well as a student. So, but in terms of documentaries, no, just keep doing what I think. I love sports, and that's really what I think I'm really good at. Or, I don't really gloat or anything, but that's what I think I'm good at. I think I have a good understanding of what I'm good at,
Okay.
and I love, yeah, doing those sports documentaries.
Which leads me to, even though I thought that was the last question, but I have another question I'd like to throw at you.
Sure,
What are some of your favorite sports movies?
Friday Night Lights,
Okay.
the show and the movie were great. Um, the OJ Made in America documentary was as good as you can get. That's like perfect documentary filmmaking. To me, that's just like when I think of like the documentary films I've seen for sports documentaries, but that's more that that's so much bigger than sports. But since it was on ESPN, of course, that's just a 10 out of 10, definitely. But the other HBO ones, the Jordan ESPN, the Jordan one was The Last Dance was great. That was just it was so I was just able to be able to reminisce growing up in the 90s about just what a player and what drove him, which was great. Even though I did root for Utah those couple years, I liked John Stockton a lot. And of course Jordan, of course, did what he does or did. But yeah, the OJ one, The Last Dance was great. There was one on soccer which was really good on ESPN. I think it was called The Two Escobars, from about Pablo Escobar, the drug kingpin, and there was an Escobar on the Colombian soccer team and I'm not a huge soccer fan at all. That's one sport I never got into, but where he scored an own goal for the '94 Colomb when the U.S. hosted the World Cup,
Right.
in before this summer. He scored his own goal, and I guess the ramifications it had in Colombia at that time, which the country which was pretty much in an upheaval. That one was really good. And then they did one on ESPN, which was, about June 17th, 1994, which had no interviews. It was just footage from all the events that intersected that day. It was the Rangers, parade for when they won the Stanley Cup. It was the
Right.
OJ chase, the Knicks Rockets game five. I think Jack Nicklaus's final U.S. Open, the World Cup starting in the U.S. So it was all footage that was spliced together. And I think Ken Griffey Jr. made it his like 30th home run that 94 that day, which was, um, I think for the few months before the strike, of course, which which ruined baseball for a while. But I think that was great, just the power of what just footage could do. Um, yeah, and I mean, there's several others that I'm trying to remember. Um,
I'm a big Hoosiers fan.
oh, Hoosiers, yeah, I mean, Hoosiers is great too. I mean, Major League's funny. The first one's very funny. Um, and Friday Night Lights, I think, is for football is just the storytelling's great, both in the show and the movie. Um, but I probably could think of others, which I'm drawing a blank on
That's all
right
right. That's okay.
now.
I particularly like sports movies that are based on true stories as Hoosiers.
Yes.
I actually found on YouTube the real footage of the story of Hoosiers was 1951, a high school called Milan, Milan, and the guy who made that shot wasn't Jimmy Chitwood, it was a guy named Bobby Plump, who, by the way, was in the movie. I don't know if you know this, maybe you do. In the movie, Bobby Plump at that game when Hickory played Indianapolis, he was the announcer on the radio.
I didn't know that.
No, you didn't know that.
No.
See that? Life is a learning experience.
Yeah.
Yep. So he was actually he sank the last minute shot in real life that helped that little tiny school. It wasn't Hickory, it was Milan,
And
win
then he was the
win the
announcer in the
state
movie.
championship. So they had him in the movie as a radio announcer. Uh, and the other movie I love is Invincible, the story of
Oh yeah, Vin Papali.
Vince Papali, who I'm dying to contact and interview because I've watched that movie all the time. Why? Because it's so improbable, yet it's real, and it
Yeah,
happened. How does a bartender
become a
wind
pro
up
football.
playing for the Eagles? I mean, it's so great stories, motivational, inspirational, spiritual, all kinds of stuff. So your world is a nice world to be a documentarian and to do sports and stuff. So um, I want to thank you for getting in touch with me and putting me on to this
My
and
pleasure.
I want to kind of check this out. It's just fascinating stuff. I think what you do is fascinating. As I said a few times, I love, love, love documentaries because it's real and it's life and it teaches and stuff. So, Eric, thank you so much. I wish you only good things and good
Thank
luck
you very
at
much.
the film festival. We'll be in touch. I'll send you stuff. I'll keep you in the loop. And you're always welcome to come back and you have other projects. I sit in this chair 12 hours a day. I'm happy to entertain stuff. So thank you. I'm going to stop recording. Don't leave. We'll do a 2-minute wrap. Thank
Sure.
you, Eric.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.